Hindus are not so organized in Muslim position. Even if the percentage of Hindus drops below 60%, Hindus are going to lose it. In Kerala, for example, Hindus are 54%. But you go and see the colleges, and you will find 20%, 25% are the Hindus in these colleges. If you go and see the companies in Kerala, you will find Hindus' employment percentage is 33%. So therefore, we have to have a mindset that the religious composition of India should not be changed, and for that we need a central law banning conversion. Many years ago, Jawaharlal Nehru had said that I am going to have Article 370 of the Constitution so that a Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha was called for the first time. First time in India, such a big gathering of all the prominent scholars came together. It is now being decided to set up I was also invited, the only politician invited, to address, give them an address on fundamentals of Hindu unity, which is now published as a booklet. And they have decided to set up a secretariat. I think it's time for us to, if not, we need not have a Hindu Pope, but we certainly need a body which will work on this. And finally, I think we need a commitment, a mindset to make all our children learn Sanskrit with their language script, because every Indian language has a very high proportion of Sanskrit vocabulary. Tamil, for example, you take any Tamil dictionary and you start counting the words which are Sanskrit, common to Sanskrit. I can't say whether Tamil borrowed it from Sanskrit or Sanskrit got it from Tamil, because Tamil and Sanskrit are equally old languages. 40% of Tamil words are of Sanskrit origin. Malayalam, it is as high as 80%. Bengali is also in that region. So because the vocabulary is drawn from Sanskrit or common to Sanskrit, I think time has come for us, in order to develop a Hindu consciousness, that all of us should require our children to learn Sanskrit, and schools ultimately to have a three-language policy. Ultimately, in a democracy, you have to have a political instrument which will implement such an agenda. But before such an instrument can come, you need a Hindu consolidation, a mind consolidation. People should start voting on the basis of a Hindu agenda. And it is from that point of view that I have come here to talk to you. The last time I did such a tour of England was in 1976, when there was a state of emergency. And people asked me, why are you campaigning abroad instead of campaigning in India? I said, well, if all of you took the trouble to write to your parents or your sisters and brothers, you will beat the censorship which Indira Gandhi had imposed at that time. And it was really the activities of the Indian community abroad which ultimately forced Indira Gandhi to call for elections. And it was only through the elections we got rid of the emergency. And in the end, after she was defeated, then she came back as Prime Minister. Mrs. Gandhi herself told me that the pressure from abroad was, I asked her, why did you make this foolish mistake of holding an election? You knew that you should have lost. She said, no, I didn't know I would lose. Certainly not myself personally. But the pressure from abroad built by the overseas Indians was so tremendous that I had to do something to legitimize the emergency. The same way today, you are people who have enormous status in society, both in India and here. And if you develop this mindset that the country has a Hindu foundation and that Hindu foundation must be nurtured, and nurtured in the following ways, then it will be only a matter of time before this spreads to India, and in India a political instrument can come about which will then implement such a agenda. Even here you can do, for instance on Shankaracharya, if you feel strongly about it. Those of you who have British passports should interact with your members of parliament. Religious freedom has become now an international human rights issue. And you should, as a British citizen who happen to be a Hindu, you have a right to ask your member of parliament. You have a right to ask your British government. Those of you who don't have a British passport should ask your High Commission. Send them petitions, demand answers. Take the Supreme Court judgments and show them. There's no prima facie case. Why is this going on? Why is the case not being withdrawn? Or other issues. If the Shankaracharya is offloaded, you have a right to raise this question. Don't take anything lying down. All these denigrations that are taking place are part of an international movement which works in various ways. What is happening through terrorism is being done in the name of Islam. And what is being done in conversion is being done in the name of Christianity. Both these forces are very active, and therefore the time for us to arise and awake and see ourselves as people who would defend the faith by developing the appropriate mindset. Thank you very much.
If I remember right, you were in Janata Party, weren't you?
I'm still in.
Right, okay. No, not at all. This is a very riveting speech, and it's really emboldened us, and I'm very happy that you have come forward to say a few words. Yes, the denigration of India has been going on since time immemorial. The main problems, I think, are actually political rather than any other problem. I mean, you look at the political system in India today, that people are prepared to go to any levels to split the people and then get the vote for themselves. I think if you look at the political system, if ever there is an election at all, I mean, who actually goes and actually votes for the politicians? It's only those 60 or 70% illiterate people who go. I mean, people who are educated, like you and I, we don't go and vote.
No, I go.
Very bad. But, I mean, the basic point lies in the fact that, it's the illiterate people who actually go and vote. And that is the reason the politicians are actually trying to split the vote and do the way things are going on at the moment. Yes, we agree that, people have done a lot of bad to Guruji, and I think we need to be united actually to do that. But I think look at the people who have actually come abroad. I mean, these are the educated people, these are the guys who have been successful in their own fields. I mean, the population you're actually looking to actually change the system is actually in India. I mean, this is where the main political thing should actually change. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
No, I don't agree, and explain why. First of all, I think it's too simplistic to say that the 60% who vote are illiterates and politicians can exploit them, divide them, and ultimately defeat the cause of national unity. We just had an election in Bihar, and you would be surprised to know that the Yadavas did not vote for Lalu. There was a revolt all across the board, and even predictions by newspapers about how the seats will be divided all came wrong, and an absolute majority went to the NDA. But people rose and said, we had enough, now we want a change, we want development, and people responded. How people come to that conclusion, that depends on the intellectual ferment in the society. In 1977, Indira Gandhi called for an election thinking she would win. The people united in such a way that a brand new party called Janata Party was put in with a huge majority, was put into power. Indira Gandhi herself lost the election. And it happens other places. 1996, the same Jayalalitha was defeated by an ordinary tea shop owner. I don't think that when the people are awakened, they will not rise, unite and deliver the goods. They have done so, and it is our responsibility to go and speak to them, explain to them, and bring it to their knowledge. Take the other example. In 1984, BJP got only 2 parliamentary seats. Just 2 parliamentary seats, and all the newspapers wrote it's all over. Then the Ram Janmabhoomi movement came. And BJP rose from 2 to 182 in a matter of 10 years. Not even 10 years, 8 years. It is an unprecedented rise. The Hindus consolidated. People say Hindus will never consolidate. That's not true. The Hindus have shown that they can consolidate if you come with an agenda. Whether those people who got elected were true to that agenda or not, that's another matter. But I don't think that the people are incapable of coming together and putting an instrument into power. And what is necessary, therefore, is that the elites, the educated people, they must also realize their commitment, and they must propagate, they must advocate, and they must assimilate these concepts that I have talked to you about. I'm grateful to Dr. Reddy saying that he recognizes that we must do something about the Shankaracharya of Kanchi, and we must find ways by which we express ourselves so that the masses of India elect a political instrument which can bring about a Hindu Renaissance in the country.